You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey announced that Twitter would not be accepting any political ads. This was after Facebook was under withering criticism on Capitol Hill when Mark Zuckerberg said they were not going to essentially fact-check the political ads of politicians. A lot of folks have been praising Twitter for that. Will it put pressure on Facebook? Joining us right now is Rashad Robinson, of course, the leader of colorchange.org. Rashad, this is first of all, it's interesting because the two groups that were the most vocal against this action were Donald Trump's campaign and Russia. I wonder why. But clearly this is Jack Dorsey firing a broadside against Facebook by saying, let's see if y'all have the guts to do what I did.
Yeah, I mean, it is really interesting. I think it's an important step forward. I actually was invited to dinner at Mark Zuckerberg's house on Monday to sort of deal with some of these issues that we've been pressing Facebook, back and forth with Sheryl Sandberg for the last year since Facebook was exposed to have been attacking Color of Change by the New York Times, exposed that. It's a couple of things. I think it's important that we think of this as a good step forward, but we recognize what this doesn't do. So there has been a lot of pressure on Twitter about dealing with white nationalists on their platform and dealing with white supremacists and sort of the hatred and violence that many folks bring up. We have had multiple meetings with Twitter. We have called on them. Twitter came out with a policy where they addressed gender and religion, but actually did not address race. And you could still sort of attack. You could call Black people monkeys literally on Twitter, but they dealt with religion and they dealt with gender. They really actually only dealt with religion. I should back up. They only really dealt with religion. So this, while it's an important step, we have to recognize that all these guys out in Silicon Valley are in competition. This actually doesn't fully address all the problems, and it also allows Jack to not actually have to deal with the fact that not all ads are the same. So by blanketly banning all political ads, he can get some good press right now, and he should get some good press. But structurally, there are a whole lot of people with Twitter accounts able to say and do things on the platform that both before and after this policy, it doesn't change anything.
The real issue, I think, what you have here is the fact that Facebook wants to have it both ways. Facebook, they want the money. And you know what? And I would have more respect if Mark Zuckerberg just said it. If he just said, you know what? Damn that, we're trying to make as much money as possible. The fact of the matter is you can put things in place that if an ad is a flat-out lie, you're wrong. And we now see that. We now see where they said, well, if you're a politician, we're not going to take it down. So one guy filed for office to run ads. They said, well, no, you're really with an advocacy group. So they took the ad down. Those are the games they're playing. And so Facebook just refuses to come to grips with the fact that their platform was used in order to impact the election. But Twitter has to deal with the same as well. We have to reckon with the notion that these platforms are being weaponized. They are being used to attack Black people. There were Russian troll farms fronting as Black Lives Matter activists and others in order to sway the points of view of African Americans. We need to deal with that, and these platforms just keep making excuses because they don't want to stop the spigot of money, Rashad.
It's a couple of things. You're absolutely right that growth and profit are the two key drivers of the decision. For Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, they're also dealing with trying to keep growth and profit moving by avoiding regulation. And so at all costs, they are trying to avoid, right now, the Trump administration, Donald Trump and Attorney General Barr, from actually regulating them. Threats to break them up, threats to create new regulation, with a party that is actually generally anti-holding corporations accountable. But that's why we've seen Mark Zuckerberg go to D.C. and meet with Republicans. In fact, he spent one trip going to D.C. and met with no members of the Congressional Black Caucus, just sort of like Barr, Trump, and other folks in private meetings, has had dinner with Tucker Carlson and others, because they are absolutely focused on ensuring that they can have enough Republican support to avoid the threats of regulation. By avoiding the threats of regulation, they are making concessions to Republicans who want to continue business as usual on a platform that worked in their favor in the last election. And that makes it hard for civil rights groups like mine and the other groups, the Leadership Conference on Civil Rights, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, other groups that have been spending a lot of time and energy pushing on Facebook to do the right thing and trying to hold them accountable. It's hard to operate in good faith when you recognize that it's not simply about the argument, that Mark Zuckerberg, who's, a 30-year-old, the fifth richest man in the world, he is deeply focused on keeping Facebook and keeping this infrastructure the same. And so he trots out arguments like free expression, or trots out sort of that it's not about money. Sheryl Sandberg released a video today saying this was not about money. Anytime a corporation tells you that it's not about money, they are actually doing a disservice and malpractice to their actual shareholders, because it should be about money with corporations. For us, we recognize that we all have a big challenge heading into this election, that right now Facebook is not ready to deal with voter suppression on their platform. My conversations with Facebook oftentimes end with me trying to explain to them that it's not just about Donald Trump and the fact that he may say crazy things and it'll get on CNN and maybe people will push back. It's about that, local state legislator in Alabama, or that city council person in Texas who can get online and also use misinformation to suppress the vote. And there is no media apparatus that is tracking that, is pushing back. Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg seem to believe in this idea that the truth will just rise up. They have this idea of civil rights, that these set of laws were passed in the 60s because of free expression, because people pushed back, and now we're all equal. When in fact, those laws were only part of the story of Black folks' struggle to express our will for a better future. And while there are written rules that change, there are a wide range of unwritten rules and a wide range of the ways in which racism shapeshifts itself and reforms itself, from poll taxes to being voter ID laws. And so the platforms like Facebook and Twitter both have a long way to go. And while they've made and brought in some people who do understand some of these issues, far too often, particularly at Facebook, and Facebook represents a much bigger threat than any other platform out there. Far too often, it is right-wing conservative Republicans right now that are in positions of power at Facebook. They are weaponizing this idea of free expression, and Facebook is making rules about how to deal with this election, not in the interest of stopping what happened in 2016, but trying to both stop what happened in 2016 and also try to avoid pissing off Donald Trump and the Republicans. And you actually can't do both. And so they either are going to make rules that focus on what's right, or they're not. And we're all going to suffer. And that's why we've been so focused on pushing back.
Rashad Robertson, codechange.org. We appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, y'all, it's the holiday season. This is when you think about spending time with family and friends. This is also when you count your blessings and support those less fortunate. This year, be a holiday hero and change someone's life forever. Right now, hundreds of thousands of Americans are sitting in jail without being convicted of a crime. Why? Because they lack the financial resources to pay their bail. Now think about it. If you are arrested for any minor offense, you will be taken directly to jail. And if you don't have bail money, you will stay there until a court date is scheduled. That could be days, weeks, or even months. Simply put, America's bail system is broken for people of color Freedom folks should be free. That's why the Ebony Foundation has partnered with the Bail Project and is sponsoring the Home by the Holiday campaign. The Bail Project has helped bail out thousands of people over the years, and with your help, they plan to bail out 1,000 people by New Year's Day. Now, how's that for a holiday gift? A donation from you today can change someone's life tomorrow. That you know, people of color represent upwards of 90% of the jail population across the country. Now, without bail, nearly 90% of those charged with misdemeanors pled guilty. However, with paid bail, less than 2% receive the jail sentence. Sometimes justice needs just us to join the fight. Now, be a holiday hero and donate $25, $50, or more to help the Ebony Foundation bring our brothers and sisters home by the holiday. To donate, go to homebytheholiday.com. That's homebytheholiday.com, and we want you to do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.